If you've been in the funding space for more than a few months, you already know this. Not every single one of your clients that you're going to sign up is actually going to win. Some are going to need their hand held the entire way. Some of them are going to take action so fast that you have to slow them down because they're going to hurt themselves. And some of them, no matter what you do, they're just never going to execute. And here is what nobody tells you when you are starting out. The reason why your clients are not getting funded has more to do with who they are as a person than how good your process actually is. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 types of funding clients you will get, how to spot each one of them, and exactly how to handle them so that you can stop losing money on the wrong people and stop killing yourself trying to fund clients who do not want to be funded in the first place. I call this the doers frameworks. 5 letters, 5 client types. Now let me walk you through it. But before we get into it, let me introduce myself. If you're new here, hi, my name is Clarissa and I currently run 2 businesses, a coaching program for credit and funding companies to learn how to fund their own clients and scale by using marketing systems, and a white label funding company where funding companies just like yourself use my team to fund their own clients. So it's safe to say that I'm a credible source for you to learn how to fund yourself or your own clients. Now let's get right into the video. Now here's the brutal truth about the funding business. The day that you close a client is the day that the clock starts ticking on whether they're going to succeed or fail. And most funding companies operator have no system for figuring out which client they're dealing with until it's already too late, until the client has ghosted them, complained on social media, or asked for a refund, or worse, filed a chargeback. So you end up overworking the wrong clients and you end up underserving the right clients. And you end up emotionally draining because you cannot figure it out why one client crushes it and the other one with a better profile, more money, and more time on their hands cannot follow a single instruction. The doers framework will fix just that. So once you can identify the type of client that you have, you can adjust how you communicate with them, how you set the expectations with them, and how much energy you should be putting on each one of them. So let me walk you through each one of them. D stands for drivers. The drivers is the dream client. This is the client who comes in already focused on the results. They do not need you to motivate them. They do not need for you to remind them how to do their homework. They figure it out things out on their own. They execute, they report back, and then they move forward. You can spot a driver in the sales calls. They are usually direct. They ask sharp questions. They're not impressed by hype, and they want to know exactly what the process is going to look like, what the timeline is, and what their job is within the system. So how can you actually handle a driver? You get out of their way, give them the playbook, tell them what to do. Stay available for questions. Do not overload them with unnecessary check-ins or coaching sessions they do not want or need. The fastest way to lose a driver is to make them sit through stuff they do not need. Drivers will give you your best testimonials, your fastest case studies, and your strongest referrals. Treat them with respect, give them the speed, and they will pay you back 10 times over. O is for organizers. The organizer is the client who needs the complete structure. They want the SOPs, they want the step-by-step, they want the checklist, they want to know what happens on day 1, day 3, day 7, day 14, and if you not give them a clear sequence, they will freeze. You can spot an organizer because they ask a lot of what is the process question, right? They want to see screenshots, they want to see documentation, they want to know what they should do first before they do anything at all. How can you actually handle an organizer? You give them what they want, a clear process, numbered steps, and a visible roadmap. The more structure you give them, the more they will actually execute. A lot of operators get frustrated with organizers because they feel like the client is too dependent on the system. But here is the actual thing. Once an organizer has the system, they execute it perfectly. They're not lazy. They're just wired to need the structure. And once you give them the structure, they can get results by themselves. So build your onboarding around them. If your process works for an organizer, it will work for almost every other client as well. E is for experiencer. Experience is the client who has to see it to believe it. They do not want to read a document. They don't want to watch a recorded training. They want to get on a call with you. They want to hop on a screen share. They want you to show them in real time exactly how something works. And once they see it, they get it. You can spot an experiencer because they will ask you for live calls. They will ask you for demonstrations. They want to know if they can sit on something. They might even ask if they can shadow you. So how can you actually handle an experiencer? You need to build live touch points in their journey. Group coaching calls, office hours, live walkthroughs. The more they see you and your team actually doing the thing, the more confidence they will have and the more they actually execute. But now the mistake that a lot of people make with experiences is throwing them into a pre-recorded course and walk away. This is the worst possible setup for them because they will tend to disappear. Not because they do not care, but because they need to see it to internalize it. Now, R is for rocket. The rocket is the client who takes action fast. They're excited, they're aggressive, they're ready to go, they don't want to wait, and the second that they get the funding game plan, they're already 3 steps in. Does that sound great, right? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's actually a problem because the rockets move so fast that they can make mistakes along the way. They skip step, they miss some details, they submit application without proper prep, they burn the increase, they mess up the paperwork, and they're usually the ones who come back 2 weeks in and like, hey, none of this is working. When the real issue is that they never followed the actual sequence. So you can spot a rocket on the sales calls and they are over enthusiastic. They're already telling you what they're going to do before they even have explained why, what they should do. And their energy is so loud that it's almost overwhelming. How can you actually handle them? You need to set guardrails for them. You need to slow them down. You require them to check certain boxes before they move forward. You build in the gates. Before you do step 5, you have to have step 1 through 3, 4 done and submitted for approval. Make them approve the prep before they actually pull the trigger. If you can channel a rocket's energy correctly, they are going to become one of your strongest clients. If you do not, they're going to crash and blame you for the crash. So the move with the rockets is to be the brake when they actually need a break, not to dampen their energy, but to protect them from themselves. Now, let me talk about the S stands for sleepers, because this is the one that you have to be honest with yourself about. The sleepers is the client who does not execute. They avoid the responsibility. They're always making excuses. They have thousands reasons why they haven't called Equifax to remove their increase, why they have not submitted any documents, why they have not booked a call with you, call the bank when in branch, and so on and so forth. You can spot a sleeper because they do not respond, or when they do respond, they're vague, they redirect, they reschedule, they keep telling you they will get it done later, right? They blame their job, they blame their kids, their wife, their weather, anything but themselves. And here's the hard truth. The sleepers is the only type of client that does not succeed in any type of business. Drivers can succeed, organizers can succeed, experiencers can succeed. Rockets succeeds when you control them properly, but sleepers, it is very hard. Unless their profile is absolutely ready for funding and you have everything that you need from them and you're submitting the applications on their behalf, unless that's the case, it doesn't matter how good your fulfillment is, they will not move forward and they will not get any type of result. So how should you handle a sleeper? 2 ways. And both of them require honesty. The first way is to call it out directly. As soon as you see the pattern, 3 missed deadlines, 2 unanswered emails, and a vague excuse on the call it out. Hey, here's what I'm seeing. You have not done X, Y, and Z. We cannot fund somebody who does not show up for their own process. So either we course correct this right now, or we're going to have a different conversation. Most of the time, the conversation alone wakes them up, or it confirms that they're never going to execute in the first place. And I kid you not, I've had many people who pay me even upfront for me to do everything, and they never even send me their login information for the credit monitoring system. And they disappear, and then they never talk to you again because they're so embarrassed of the fact that they've recognized themselves that that's their behavior, but they don't want to admit it to you or to themselves. Now, the second way is that if they still do not move, is just offboarding them. I know that sounds harsh, but keeping a sleeper in your program is bad for them as much as it is for you. Bad for them because they're paying for a service that they're not using. Bad for you because they're taking up your mental capacity and your energy and your bandwidth when your real clients actually deserve that attention. So what you should do is just offboard them officially. Be respectful, be clear, and just move on. Moving to the next client. Now, by the way, if reading clients like this and actually knowing how to handle them is something that you want to get good at, this is what we cover inside of our Funding Academy. It's a 5-week program, 1 module per week with weekly exercises, and the whole thing is to build and teach you how to fulfill on your own clients, not just close them, fulfill on them, how to read them, how to onboard them, how to run them through your process, and how to know how and when to offboard them. The link is below if this is for you. If not, all good. Now let me finish this out. Now here's what I want you to take away from all of this. 4 of these client types will always succeed if you treat them right. The organizer will succeed when you get out of their own way. The organizer succeeds when you give them the structure. The experiencer succeeds when you give them a live touch, right? Some one-on-one experience. The rocket succeeds when you give them guardrails. The only client type that will most likely always fail is the sleeper. And the sooner that you can identify them, the better off everyone is. So your job as a funding consultant is not just to deliver the funding. Your job is to read the client, figure out which letter they are, adjust on how you serve them, and when you see a sleeper, do not lie yourself about it. Now, here's the part that most people are not going to tell you. You can actually identify most of these type of clients on the sales call before you even take the client's money and sign an agreement with them. If they come in laser focused and asking sharp questions, you have a driver. If they want to know your exact process step by step, you have an organizer. If they want to hop on calls and see live demos, then you have an experiencer. And if you have an over enthusiastic and already telling you what they're going to do, you have a rocket. If they're vague, slippery, evasive, and they're giving you excuses before you even get started, then you most likely have a sleeper. The sleepers is the only one that you should be careful and vet extra before closing them. I know that this is hard, especially when you're early in your funding company journey and you want and you need the revenue. But every sleeper that you close costs you more money than they actually will pay you. They drain your team, they tank your refund rate, they leave bad reviews, and they take up the seats that a driver could have been seated in. And be honest with yourself in that sales call. If your gut is telling you that that person is not going to execute, listen to your gut. So next time that you bring on a funding client, do not just look at their credit report, do not just look at their income, do not just look at their actual profile. Look at who they are. Are they a driver, a rocket, or maybe a sleeper? The answer to that question is going to determine whether you make money on them or whether you're losing money on them. So that's the doers framework. Use it, and I will see you in the next video.